Welcome back, everybody. If you haven't seen the first episode on this car where I bought it, I would recommend watching that before you watch this one. Apparently everybody seemed to like it. Today we're going to do injectors because I have a random misfire, and I've narrowed it down to the injectors because I've already replaced everything else. I also don't know if this is even going to be in the video, but it did rain the other day, and something shorted somewhere. I had some water on the floor, and the car keeps killing the battery, so I gotta figure that out. If it's something interesting, I'll show you. If it's not, then I'll just fix it. So I guess the first step with this, according to some write-up I found on the internet, is we gotta take this cover off. This is the wiring for the coils and the injectors. Maybe there's tabs or something under here, I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna figure that out. But I gotta go ahead and get that off first. Okay, just from looking in here, and after breaking half the clips on the back side of this, I don't think you actually need to pull this top cover off. I think you just need to pull this whole thing out of the car. So I'm gonna snap this back in if I can, because it does not like life. Okay, I think I figured it out. On some of these two bolts right here are inside of this plastic box, and these hold this whole thing down to the intake manifold. So I don't have to pull this cover off, but I guess on some of the later cars, like I said, those will be in here, so you do have to pull this off, but I don't, so let's get that out. Also, one thing I noticed, the bolts holding in my fuel rail are both finger tight at best, so that's neat. All right, there's these little metal retaining clips on the injectors. You can kind of stick a small screwdriver in here, pry both ears of it out of the plastic that holds this together, and then slide that whole clip down onto the injector itself, so that when you pull this whole thing out, those clips will stay there and they won't go flying down into this crevice here and you'll never find them again. Interesting. What's holding this in? Oh, hold on. We got 5 clips stayed on the injectors, and this one wants to go flying, but we're not gonna let it. This doesn't come out any more than right about here, because I think it's being held in by a wiring harness back here, so that's cool. Which, you know, that makes sense, I guess. The question is that enough room to actually pull the injectors out? I guess I'm gonna find out. It's not like this car's DI. That is definitely being held in exclusively by the pressure of the injectors, but how the... There we go. These are the clips I was talking about. I don't know, actually that probably makes it worse. But yeah, you just pry these ears off, push it down so it clamps on the injector and off of here. Ah, that didn't even hit the floor. No. God, this car leaks a lot of weird fluids. How did it not hit the floor? That's just straight floor. There's no under tray. Where did that go? It's way down in there. Oh, that's not ideal. How does that even happen? Well, that's not the actual sheathing for the wire, but yeah, that's nice. There we go, we have slightly more freedom. Okay, now for the dangerous part. I have to pull out an injector and release the fuel pressure and manage to not start a fire. Now I know you're supposed to unplug the fuel pump fuse or relay while the car is running to make sure that there's no pressure, but I can't start the car right now. It's been sitting for a few days, so maybe I'll be okay. That same write-up I mentioned earlier said that they just pulled out an injector. Oh, there's another one of those little rubber seal things down there that I need to grab. There we go. I am assuming that this will be under some amount of pressure, but I'm not expecting it to be a lot. So let's just hope I'm not wrong. Why can't I get this thing out? It moves. I mean, God knows how long these have been in here. What the Oh, there we go. All right, so the fuel, after letting the car sit for a few days, was not pressurized, like, whatsoever. So that's a plus. Get this little clip off. We're gonna need that for the new one. Wow, it smells like gas. All right, I've decided that we're gonna pull all 6 out and then put all 6 new ones in. All right, so we have our old injectors here that we pulled out. These are nasty. We have our nice new ones that we're gonna throw in. Now, when you put these new ones in, especially judging by, where the hell is my knife? Especially judging by how difficult the other ones were to actually take out of the manifold, or not the manifold, the fuel rail. I'm gonna lubricate these new ones with a little bit of engine oil, just used engine oil. You're supposed to use white lithium grease or just gasoline because this rubber on these seals can degrade when exposed to engine oil or gasoline. Yes, I realize I just contradicted myself. White lithium grease is the thing that you're supposed to use. So do that if you're doing this yourself, but I don't have any, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw some engine oil on here. And if I'm wrong about any of that, please let me know down in the comments. I'm sure you guys will love that. If you're noticing that some of these are different colors, these are actually remanufactured Bosch injectors, so I'm just assuming the plastics are older on the ones that are lighter colored. They're supposed to be this color. Brute force and ignorance. All right, the camera died while I was doing that, but all 6 injectors are in the fuel rail and clipped on. Now I just gotta get these clips in here. And I already did these 2 just for practice and because you can't see them anyway.
Thank you so much for having given me a moment of your time. I know it's been a while since our last upload, and it might be a while until the next one, but in my defense, it's freezing cold in here and I don't have any heat. We'll be getting back into the swing of things soon as spring comes around. We got a lot of good projects coming up between my cars and John's car, so stay tuned for that and we'll see you then.